Right, so let's talk about Tether. So,
Sure.
what have you heard? I'm sure, like, I know I get a lot of rumors coming into my inbox. What's your view on it? What do you think? I haven't heard your public
Sure.
comments about it, and let's see how
I don't think
different we
anyone
are.
has, to tell you the truth. I haven't publicly commented on it, I don't think. So here's my chance.
Perfect.
Um, if you want to have a business in the Bitcoin ecosystem, the biggest two problems you're going to have are getting developers that are good. You'll get a lot of bad ones. And two, getting banking.
Competent development. Yeah.
So in developers, you can make new ones. Banking, it's very, very hard to make your own bank. And so what happens is you try and cheat the system by using credit unions, and then the credit union turns you off because they had problems with their settling bank, or they had problems directly settling with the NACHA Fed system. So if you think it's easy to get a Bitcoin bank account, guess again, it's not. And the reason it's not easy to get a Bitcoin bank account is because the regulatory bodies and the governments are unfairly harsh on the banks themselves. So because the government has crappy laws with excess AML, KYC, SAR, suspicious activity reports, all that stuff, because the government is so harsh there, they lean on the banks, and then the banks don't want to take any risk because they're not making much margin anyway. So if they're not making much margin anyway, why would they want to lose $500,000 to an audit and lose 10 employees to an audit because of one bad client? Not even a bad client, but just a risky client, when they could just not have the risky client, not lose the 500 grand to compliance and attorneys and accounting and audit problems and possible brand harm, right? So banks do not want to touch crypto at all because the government is very hard on them. Now, what's a way to route around that? Beg the government. They don't listen. Okay, what's another way to route around it? Move to New York, let them put their thumb up your butt and abide by a bunch of regulations, but you might get a bank account, and that's a good option. That's, at least it exists. It's a good option. Now, what's your other option? Play the offshore game. Okay, well, what's the offshore game? Well, you get a bunch of accounts with a bunch of people in charge of them, and then if one dies, you got another one. If that one dies, you got another one. And that one dies, you got another one. And so basically it's regulatory arbitrage. This jurisdiction doesn't want to play ball. They don't want to give us bank accounts. They want to complain. They want to delay things and, increase reserves and all that crap. And you're like, fine, then we'll just do it in a bunch of countries with a bunch of owners. And then whichever one stays up, that's where people send their money. And those are the only options you got. That's it. Those are the only options you have. You cannot get money from your customers any other way. You could try and take PayPal, they'll shut you off. You can try and take Western Union, they'll shut you off. You can try and take MoneyGram, they'll shut you off. You could do credit card fraud and pretend you're a different business, they'll shut you off, you might go to jail. If you want to accept people's money for crypto and you don't have a New York bank account license or own your own bank somewhere, that's what Tether appears to be to me. People trying to stay in business and try and keep this ecosystem going while everyone explains to them that they're the biggest, shittiest company in the world, while explaining to them that they're the biggest, shittiest company in the world, doing absolutely nothing to help anyone deposit anything anywhere, right? So everyone like, that guy on Twitter who posts once every 5 minutes, full-time job, what is he doing to help anyone? What is he doing to help you get your deposit to someplace useful?
Are we talking about Bitfinex or?
Yeah, I just, when I consider people to be more harm than good, I just don't advertise them. So I don't say the name.
No, but I'm not sure if you're talking about someone from.
I'm talking about who you're talking about.
Troll.
I'm talking about who you mentioned just a second ago.
Okay, got it.
If you want me to value your opinion, you got to bring something useful to the table. If you want to talk shit, but not offer any solutions, shut the fuck up. Okay? Nobody wants to deal with these offshore counterparties anyway. And so let me tell you this, right? Tether could collapse, right? But you know what else? They could just decide not to send you your money from a central bank account. What's the difference? You have a counterparty, right? You have a counterparty. You either trust them or you don't. So if Bitfinex had a single bank account, they could just be like, you know what? We're just going to buy crack with us and smoke it. Sorry, guys. And everyone would lose their money. Or they could have 50 bank accounts and invent some blockchain thing called Tether. And then if they wanted to just take your money and smoke crack with it, they could. So like from my perspective, since you're already at the total and complete mercy of the administrators of the system, isn't the blockchain side, where you get to see some things and account for some things, infinitely better than the black box that is every other company that you deal with? Look around your house and tell me the thing that you got an audited report from the counterparty. Oh, look, Shure microphone. You know how much money they made last year? I don't know. And they won't tell me if I call them and ask them. And by the way, like, people ask for like an audit. So let's say you ran an exchange and you had accounts all over the place and you had, different owners all over the place for redundancy. And someone said, prove to me you're legit. And you go, okay, well, here's the bank accounts, here's the owners, and here's the amounts. And you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, that's not good enough, because you might have encumbered those funds. You might have actually entered into other agreements and already loaned that money out or promised that money to other people. So you can't even give these people what the fuck they want, because what they want is impossible to give them. It can't be given, right? So it just drives me crazy, because go build something better, or go advertise people use CME, or go advertise people use CBOE, or go advertise people use LedgerX, or go advertise people use higher margin to reduce counterparty risk, or do something that solves the fucking problem. But don't shit talk a company that's doing the best they can. I mean, look, it's just another exchange. Exchanges get hacked, exchanges get failed. It's not great. But what are your options, right? Your options are other counterparties which suck equally, with less oversight, with no blockchain insight at all. So in a world of suck versus suck versus suck, this suck seems reasonable. And if you want better counterparties, they're available to you now for some things. But anyway, if you don't like a company, it ain't because of Tether, because they could just not use Tether and steal all your money anyway. They do whatever they want. They have the keys, right? That's my take on Tether. The reason I don't want to defend them is because if they blow up, I look like the asshole that defended the thing that blew up. And I don't Tether doesn't need to blow up for an exchange to screw you. They can just screw you. They don't need Tether to screw you at all.
All right. So, in your opinion, and the answer could be I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you think there is $1 for every Tether sitting in some bank we're assuming is in Taiwan? Do you think yes?
I think that there's a whole shitload of dollars, and it probably approaches one. I think there's a whole shitload of dollars, and it probably approaches one. And I would be worried about Tether's inflating the price if they were the price leader instead of the price laggard. Their price is lowest or second lowest constantly. So they're not inflating the price with Tethers, I know that. And if you remove money from their system, they issue Tethers on removal, so you can't even trade it. I mean, if it was tradable, people would be making money on it and not publicizing it. You can't. It's not tradable.
It is tradable. I heard it was tradable on
It's
Kraken.
not.
You can go
sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. No. I'm saying if you when you saw Tethers were issued, there's a bot that I watch that lets me know every time Tethers are issued. Like before I went to the opera, I saw that there was something like 75 or 100 million in Tethers issued today. But we don't know. So Tethers are usually issued when people are withdrawing money from Bitfinex, not depositing it. Sometimes it's for deposits.
No. Oh, you mean they're issued on both? They're probably issued on both sides.
And you can't trade the damn thing. So you know that the Tethers were issued, but you can't trade it unless you do chain analysis and try and figure out which addresses cause which coins to go up, or if they send certain amounts, or if they send certain amounts in series. The damn Tethers are not pumping the price on Finex, and they're not tradable when they print. You can't just long Bitcoin every time they get printed. You'll get wiped out. I mean, it's 50-50, right? You might as well just flip a coin and not pay the fees. So what's left? What's left is, the system could be Fugazi and it's all fake. But it could be all fake without the stupid Tethers. They don't need the Tethers to be fake. They could have their own central bank account and just be like, me paying nobody.
So again, I must have missed your answer to the question. Do you think there is $1 for every Tether?
I think there's a shitload of dollars, and that they get a shitload of wires, and they go into people's bank accounts, and if you want your wire, they'll send it out to you. And the minute that you start hearing people complaining that they're not getting their wires, then you can be concerned. But for a company that's making millions of dollars a day,
I don't think that's true.
Well, where are the complaints, bro? I mean, it's the internet. People complain as a religion. People complain that don't even have a business relationship.
Here's why I don't think that's true, and that's simple, right? Mm-hmm. If Bitfinex was making millions of dollars a day, the $76 million hack would have been, completely paid back
Oh no,
within 5 months.
you know that the space has changed in the last, like the volumes have all 10x'd in amount because the values of the cryptos that are traded have 10x'd, and then the number of people trading them is like 5x'd. So there's like 50x more money in the space as a service provider than there was a year ago. So everyone's profitability went up 50x basically, from a 10 times increase in the price and a 5 times increase in users. Like, and I'm probably being conservative. It's probably more than a 5 times increase in users. So everybody that was making like shit ski money a year ago, they're making 50x now, unless they had scaling problems, or they weren't charging based on dollar volume. If they were just charging flat fee, then they wouldn't have gotten wildly more popular. I mean, look, if that exchange failed and if Tether turned out to be 100% bullshit, it's never mattered less because now you've got better counterparties. Coinbase is a good counterparty. They're regulated out the ass. CME and all those brokers are great counterparties and they're regulated out the ass. So if Bitcoin was ever going to be able to withstand some type of bullshittery hack, now's the time. And by the way, BTCE got shut down. Does Bitcoin care?
They're back.
China banned Bitcoin. Yeah, they're back.
NBTC is back.
What I'm saying is, like, every time, like, oh, Ross Ulbricht got arrested, does Bitcoin care? Oh, look, South Korea is going to propose some regulations. South Korea is leading in price today. So I don't care about any of these things. There's too much mania and too many people that want it.
So I do think that issues with Tether will have a bigger ripple through the system than perhaps you do. So again, under your assumption that
the question is, when's it going to fail? Maybe it fails 8 years from now, 6 years, 5 years. You can't be out of the market. You got to be long in this thing.
No, I completely agree. I mean, nobody knows when it's going to fail. Like, who knew when Bernie Madoff was going to fail, right?
Yeah.
Like who knew when Mt. Gox was going to fail? Like nobody knows, right?